Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the DCL Show, your source for Disney Cruise news and reviews. Coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined in the studio this week by my good friends, Mr. John Sicari.
Hello, everyone.
Our producer, Mr. Craig Williams.
Ahoy, hoy.
And via Skype from DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com, Ms. Elaine Edwards.
Hi, friends.
And this show is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, of which I am one of the owners. So if you like our content, if you would like to show your support for us, the best way to do that is to book your next Disney Cruise Line vacation through Dreams Unlimited Travel. You're going to get the services of a great agent like Elaine. You're going to get a shipboard credit from us up to $1,000. And you're going to get that for the same price you're going to pay Disney. So you're literally leaving money on the table by not doing it. And it's how we pay for the shows, the vlogs we do, all the things that we do. That's how I pay for it. So please show your support, dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Okay, this week we are still talking about The Wish, and we are going to focus on dining, which I have a lot to say about. First of all, the dining on Disney cruise ships is rotational. Your server team travels with you from restaurant to restaurant. And we have 1923, which we actually have two versions of 1923. I think it's the Walt side and the Roy side, which...
I don't know if you would know the difference.
I don't know if you'd know the difference.
Except for the entrance.
And even then, I will say on your, when you know your rotation, you don't know which side you're going to go into. So you might walk up to the Walt side and find out oh no, you're seated on the Roy side, vice versa. But in terms of the interiors of the restaurant, it's the same style and theming of it's almost like an old, elegant, kind of like a Steakhouse 51 style, or Steakhouse 55. I mixed that up with Steakhouse 71. Steakhouse 55, where it's a lot of dark woods, and it's very elegant in terms of theming, but then it has a lot of touches that you would expect at Animator's palette, because it's showcasing little pieces of animation history throughout all of the Walt Disney productions. So it's very interesting from that perspective, that it's oh, here's your elegant, could be a steakhouse, but also it feels like Animator's palette in different ways too.
Yeah.
I've even seen pictures that people are turning this into a theme night, and they're dressing in 50s style dress outfits to match the restaurant.
We actually saw some people dressed more in 20s.
It was the Roaring 20s in the Rose.
20s.
Got it.
And I mean, they were dressed to the nines.
They went all out. It was amazing.
They looked amazing. They looked absolutely amazing.
That's really cool. I think this restaurant is ripe for this. If there's one restaurant that you want to dress up for in rotational dining, this is the one that you're going to want to do.
I agree. I absolutely
it's
agree.
Great Gatsby type stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you think about 1923, that would be the style, the Roaring 20s.
Yeah. And the menu actually reflects the elegance of the restaurant too in that time period with it, because this is where you're going to have your actual filet mignon, which shocked me on the preview cruise. It's always the beef tenderloin, and it's not a full steak, but you actually do have the opportunity to get a full filet mignon in the dining room, and rack of lamb in this restaurant too. So it is going for kind of not Paulo Steakhouse vibe level, but definitely more elevated in terms of the menu.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. I ate in there on the christening cruise, which was comped, so I can't review it. But we didn't get to eat in there. I didn't
There was a good reason, though.
There was a good reason. I got a chance to meet with Thomas Maslam, who's the head of DCL, and the only time he could meet was during my dinner time at 1923. So I was not able to, and I was like, I'll get 1923 next time. I'm gonna have a chance to sit with Thomas Maslam. I'm taking that. And he's a great guy. Absolutely great. We had a wonderful conversation, and he was really generous with his time. We sat there for like an hour. I had a great conversation. Told him my thoughts on the ship, and we chatted back and forth about a number of things. Just an absolutely great guy. But so you have 1923. You have Avengers,
Worlds of Marvel.
Worlds of Marvel. And then you have Arendelle, based on Frozen. In addition to your specialty restaurants, Palo Steakhouse and Enchanté, which, is similar to Remy on The Dream and the Fantasy. And I'm going to tell you, overall, my experience in these restaurants ranged anywhere between good and excellent in terms of the food, in terms of the theming, in terms of the entertainment. This is especially true in Arendelle. The quality of the entertainment, the singers. Some people are criticizing the fact that, the Elsa character isn't singing Let It Go. It's,
You could watch her sing Let It Go at every other venue.
I thought the way they did it
was nice.
Was really cool. And again, these singers, these performers, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable how good they were. And the way they, I'm speaking specifically of Arendelle right now, coming out into the restaurant, interacting with, especially with the kids, going out of their way. I mean, we were traveling with friends who had two little ones, so we were on the early seating. And these characters were phenomenal with these kids.
I agree.
They had a very interesting way to structure the entire dining experience by, you come in and you get started with your appetizers and place those orders in. The show starts and, it's a short introduction, but then the characters break off and they have time to come around and visit all of the tables and then take a small break. Small little duo that then happens during a duet that happens during the show, and then what felt like a very long finale. And I'm not saying that in terms of saying it felt long. I'm saying like I expected another long break where no one was going to come out and you were going to have downtime for that, but the finale, I feel like it went on for 15 or 20 minutes straight, and it's a lot of entertainment. It is a true dinner show. And
remarkably entertaining.
And a very impressive Olaf animatronic, I have to say.
Yes, very impressive. Now, I think of the three rotational restaurants, Arendelle was by far my favorite.
Yeah. Also because of the food.
The food was fantastic. We have a separate review coming up, if it's not out already by the time this is.
Remember, I have to redo Arendelle in October, so we will have one.
Oh, that's right.
Arendelle had a mic issue. We're mute for some reason when we talk. I don't know why.
We have a technical issue with Arendelle. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the food.
I'm addicted to the Swedish meatballs with those noodles. Rosemary reduction cream sauce on meatballs with, I think, fresh fettuccine noodles. Outrageous. It was delicious.
And a lingonberry sauce.
Which they always forget to bring you until you ask for it, and it does complete the meal.
It really does complete the dish. That was delicious. The food was delicious.
It was.
The food was delicious. And again, my experience, I had this experience on the christening cruise where I made the comment that it felt like this was being cooked to order because it was coming out hot, it was coming out fresh. But I'm thinking to myself, A, I can't review it because it was a christening cruise. B, I was an invited guest. I wasn't paying for it. B, the ship is lousy with influencers and executives, so they're on their best behavior. C, is this what it's going to be like in 6 months? And I found myself saying the exact same thing.
Me too.
On the maiden voyage. This food is tasting like it's cooked to order. And was delicious. It tasted good. Now, not everyone agrees with me on this, and I just want to I think I have to go back to making this clear when we do dining reviews. This is a snapshot of our experience in that moment. Yours may be different. Neither one of us are wrong. Because I'm noticing some feedback coming back.
I did not hear from people we spoke to. I didn't hear anyone complain about Arendelle food. You've heard?
No, I'm just saying in general.
Oh, yeah, that's
in general.
Sure.
That, I ate there and it was terrible. You're wrong. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm telling you what my experience was in the moment. And I'm being honest about it. And if your experience was different, I'm sorry. Tastes different, vary. Kitchens have bad moments. Stuff happens. I just had to pull myself back from what I wanted to say. Stuff happens. So none of this is a guarantee that because I had a good experience, because I felt this way about it, that's what you're going to feel about it. So I just want to make that clear.
I will say with Arendelle, again, not reviewing the food, but just pointing out a fact, I think this is actually the most themed when it comes to food, because this
Correct.
is a Scandinavian-inspired menu that I do feel like, Akershus has still not opened up here at Walt Disney World, but a lot of people wanted to go there for the princess meet and greet, but didn't necessarily love the food there. I think if the menu was closer to what this is, I think you would have a lot of people going to Akershus for not just the princesses, but also
I haven't been to Akershus in a decade because of the food. If this was the menu at Akershus, I'd be there all the time.
Me too.
And I think I gave them credit because I did an interview with the chef on board during the christening cruise, and I like that they did not hold back from the Scandinavian styles. And while it's like in some circumstances, it's food you can find up in the buffet during different times of the day, like especially with the smoked fish. When it's on the menu in front of you, you feel like you can be a little bit more adventurous and go out of the box. But they still have like a ribeye that you can always fall back on if you want to go a little bit, more normal and not in the Scandinavian flavors. But Worlds of Marvel, which is the last one to talk about in the rotation, like the theming was not there in terms of the food. And of course, food did not grow or shrink in there. Anyone who thought it was going to grow or shrink, I don't know what world you were living in, but Panda, actually, you did believe that it was going to?
I thought a cupcake was going to do something.
No.
With projections on the ceiling. I saw the little girl see a cupcake grow, and I thought something was going to happen.
No, but it was not. And the food was not really themed there at all. It maybe in a couple circumstances, but it wasn't there. The Arendelle felt like that was both a themed menu and an intricately themed show. 1923 felt like an elevated dining experience. And then Worlds of Marvel, the menu felt a little bit not necessarily right for that restaurant, but you're there to watch the screens and see the whole show play out.
Right.
And that's the important. It's the same screens you would see in an animator's palette on the other ships, but it's not a two-way interaction. You're watching the show. You're not getting involved in it.
which I appreciate.
Well, they're trying to get you involved with the little button thing on the table.
You press one button on the table. That's it. But otherwise, you're watching Ant-Man and the Wasp and how it all plays out. And I think this was a smart way to do this entire experience too, because not only do you get a chance to see Marvel characters actually there as well too, they also future-proofed it that whatever is the new Marvel character that comes out, they can easily add them.
But given the fact that they have an entire campus out of California Adventure with food themed around Marvel, why didn't they theme this menu?
They could have.
$1 million question.
You know, that I thought was an oversight. I thought the food in Marvel was good. I mean, it was. I can't remember what I ate. I'm sure it'll come back to me in a review. That one's.
Did you have the chicken? They call it Wiener Schnitzel, but it's thick. It's not a.
No,
thin.
I didn't have that. You did.
It was really good.
I had a taste of it. It was good, but I forgot what I had.
It's just not.
Then again, I can't remember yesterday, so don't go by me.
I will not even again reviewing food with it. Corey and I ordered every single menu item in all of the restaurants. There was one they forgot to bring us that we didn't realize from Arendelle, but we ordered everything. We could basically remember every single thing from 1923 and from Arendelle. Worlds of Marvel was our last restaurant, and that was the one that like we could not remember the next day. Like what exactly did we eat there again? Because it didn't feel connected to the rest of the restaurant where both of the other ones did. So not a knock on the food at all. Just saying I feel like it's the most disjointed, but you're there for the show, not necessarily the dinner.
So going back to the overall experience with these 3 rotational restaurants, something I realized just recently, like compared to the dream and the fantasy, I get this relationship with the server who follows you to each restaurant, and I know their name, and I realize on the Wish, I didn't know any of my servers. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just a different experience.
I will say that while our service team wasn't bad, they weren't the most memorable.
But was that because of them rushing, or because of the entertainment, or because they weren't that great?
I don't know.
Right. I don't know either.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Did you find that, Craig, a difference? Like on the dream, I knew, there was this connection at the end of our meal. The guy would come over and do give us magic tricks and stuff. There was no relationship building with my service staff on the Wish.
Well, I can't review our serving team. I will say though, we had a very, very strenuous request on their behalf saying we would like to order everything. The first night, the show did definitely hinder that because the lighting went down completely and we weren't able to do everything as quickly as we wanted to. But then that next night at 1923, our server team, they had the goal of making sure that we tried to get out of there in an hour and less, even though we didn't want that necessarily. But that's just, they figured it all out. The personalities were able to shine more in a restaurant like 1923. Yeah. I do think that the shows can have a hindrance towards that. So
they overshadow.
If you go to 1923 first, I think you're going to establish a better bond with your server than starting at one of the other ones. But I didn't think about that really. It was just, we were so weird with how we were doing it that your servers hate you when you say, I would like to order every single menu item and then every single dessert. It's very rude and I would not recommend it, but we did it.
I hate to say, but on the Wish, if the server staff didn't follow me from restaurant to restaurant, I wouldn't even know that it was different people.
Yeah, I didn't feel a connection with them either, for whatever it's worth. But that is definitely one of the highlights, though, for me of doing the cruises is that the connection you make with your service staff.
That 7-day fantasy we did. By day 5, you are just wanting to take the service staff home with you.
Right, exactly. And then there's also, let's talk about Marceline Market. Mm-hmm. That's the cabanas of the Wish.
That everyone still calls it cabanas.
Yeah,
because that's what DCL people are used to.
And I got to say, a couple times I went up there for lunch. And I got to say, yeah.
It was very good.
It was really good. It was really good.
We both gravitated towards that chicken tikka masala, even though there were other really good items I tried on there, but that's just
So good.
It was so good. And then we would always go and get a coffee from the coffee bar that was also up there, which is kind of like a Cove Cafe, that quality of coffee right there in Marceline.
Yeah. No, I thought Marceline Market was overall very good for what we had. And of course, we have reviews either up or coming up for Palo and Enchanté brunch.
Yes.
We did do Enchanté dinner. It was, once I complained about how absolutely awful the experience was at brunch, they invited us back for dinner. Didn't come.
Wasn't Enchanté that really invited us back. I mean, they did, but because of your...
Well, without getting into all the details. Yeah, because I ran into somebody who's an executive at Disney Cruise Line in the concierge lounge who's responsible for the dining venues across the ships. And I told him, you've got a lot of work to do in Enchanté. That night, the maitre d' of Enchanté came to our table at Marvel.
Yep.
And apologized and invited us up. I wasn't sure if they were going to comp us or not. They didn't. But we didn't do an actual review of dinner. Dinner was a much, much better experience than brunch was. But then again, I just complained about how bad brunch was, so I imagine they were on their best behavior. But I had been hearing from other people, dinner at Enchanté, a much, much better experience than brunch. So just keep that in mind. Palo Steakhouse, again, you can watch our review. Ask for Brandon.
Yeah.
Ask for Brandon. He was superb as a server. Absolutely superb. Oh, I thought you had something to say.
I was waiting until you were finished. So, I was going to say with Marceline Market, an important thing to note: while it is the buffet, it is not self-service buffet, and they will give you all the food you want. So, if you want that traditional buffet, you're not getting it unless they decide to change that in the future, which could always happen, but that's how it is right now. And a question came in that I'm interested to. Was there anything with like sit-down dinner at Marceline Market at night, or was still just running buffet style?
I think it was just buffet style.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, I like the way they do the serving now. It feels cleaner without people putting their hands everything. And there was never they were always generous with what they were giving you, even if you just, didn't say give me more. So I kind of like it the way them serving.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it not being self-serve.
Oh, I think that's how all buffets should be, is let someone else serve it.
Yeah.
Because, we've all been that disgusting person who, we realize that like, oh, I might have put this in that and I shouldn't have done that. But hopefully no one saw, so we can just move right on from there. So we've all been there.
Craig also has this habit of, if it's something with a spoon, he'll take the food and actually eat out of the spoon, lick the spoon, and then put it back.
No, you got to test it. You got to test it first.
Just to see if he likes it or not.
Outside of Marceline Market, you have the Mickey and Friends Festival of Foods.
Okay, let's full stop here.
Full stop.
Full stop here. What the hell? Who knew? Who knew? Disney. I'm not even talking Disney Cruise Line. I'm talking about Disney. Who knew they were capable of quick service food at this level? This wasn't just good. It was the best food on the ship.
Yeah, I would have skipped a rotational dining for that Mickey Festival of Food.
Honestly, it is worthy of skipping. If you don't want to go into the restaurant, if you don't feel like dealing with timing or, getting ready or whatever, you just want to skip Marceline Market. I mean, Marceline Market's good. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was very good. Nothing compares. to the food being served at these quick service locations. The pizza was actually good. They're making it fresh. They're making it fresh. They're making the dough fresh, making the pizza fresh. They have an actual pizza oven. The pizza was actually... Now, is it the best pizza I ever had? No, but it was good. It was good, and I ate it more than once, so I went back for more. The barbecue. The barbecue. Yeah.
And not just pulled pork, like actual brisket that, you know, it was sliced right there out in front of you. Ribs that didn't feel like an afterthought. And then plenty of sides, too, because barbecue's only as good as the sides that you have with it as well, too. This is like... They tried to recreate Regal Eagle or even Polite Pig. Not Polite Pig level, but definitely Regal Eagle on the sea. And
they did. They did. They didn't try. They accomplished.
And then the Mexican. Tacos,
I didn't
burritos,
try the Mexican.
And Chipotle bowls.
Yeah.
You just pick what you want. It's really good.
I mean...
And they still have the grill. If you just want burgers and fries and that option, and that's where your self-service ice cream is too, even though they serve you the ice cream now. But yeah, they definitely took a swing with the Festival of Foods.
And I think of all the dining experiences that I had on board, that was the one that blew me away the most. A very close second was Palo. A very close second was Palo, because our Palo meal was the best Palo experience I've ever had.
It was the best steak I've also ever tasted in my life.
Oh, that M5 Wagyu was...
It's my dream. Never had one. It's my dream.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. As good as it was, I said this to Panda the week before. I'd had it at Shula's. I had a Wagyu at Shula's that was even better.
All right.
That was even better.
Wow.
Shula's, you want steak in Orlando. You want steak. You go to just go to Shula's. Just go to Shula's. It is hands down, no contest, the best steakhouse on property. It may be the best steakhouse in Orlando. It's absolutely superb. But that's another show for another time.
Yeah, we really only have 2 more mentions and then one question mark that I had on everything. But if you want the upscale ice cream experience, they did add this onto with the Inside Out Joyful Sweets. So you have gelato in there and some cupcakes. Everything in there is upcharge. So it is not your free soft serve that you get out on deck, but still available if you want it. It's always popular on the other ships. Back by the Toy Story Splash Zone, they had what was called Wheezy's Freezes, and they would offer like smoothies at an additional charge back there. I never saw anyone actually using it, though. It was most people just picked up a beer from there, and that was it. But that's available too. And the last thing that I had a question mark with that I did not know about this, and I know it's on the DCL website, so it exists. But they have this ridiculous Olaf's Royal Picnic, apparently, that they're either doing or going to do. And
Yes.
Before I describe it, the pricing on it, $220 for children, and then $69 for adults.
What?
Yes, and this is guests are invited to celebrate summer during a one-of-a-kind picnic in the beautiful Arendelle Castle. A lively and Arendellian host will introduce the most fun event at the Nordic Midsummer Festival in the land. When you arrive, you will see the beauty of summer. Arendelle Castle is covered in a canopy of the most beautiful and colorful flowers in the land. And you have a picnic where you can see Olaf, Anna, Elsa, and Kristoff. And there will be melodies, treats, and merriment. So it almost sounds like a second Frozen-themed experience. But this one, if you want, it's at a ridiculously steep price. And I'm sure
$220 for kids?
I have more information too.
Oh, Elaine, go.
So this replaces on the other ships how they have this like royal tea party that you can book. This replaces that. And the reason that the child price is so much more expensive than the adult price is they give each of the children like a whole bunch of gifts. Like even like a ukulele, even I think, they give them a whole bunch of stuff. And
great. That's an experience I want to have.
Okay. I actually called, because I'm booked concierge on my, Wish Cruise in September. I actually called and said, can I book this? And they said, no, you have to have kids with you to book it.
That was going to be my question.
We were going to go as 2 adults because I wanted to do it, and they said no. So you do have to have a child ages 3 to 12 with you to be able to do this. But it's not actually running yet. A lot of my clients that are booked for this experience in the month of August have received emails from Disney Cruise Line that their experience has been canceled because it's not going yet. So we don't know when it's going to start yet. It was supposed to start.
$220.
Yeah, they're not giving the kids anything.
That ukulele better be covered in gold.
They're not giving the kids anything. You're paying for it.
They also send the kids to Skywalker Ranch Vineyards as well, too, I think, at that price. Oh.
Oh, Lord. All right, what else? What else we got to cover?
That's all of the food. The only other things are like Keg and Compass, as I've mentioned in other shows. You can buy extra food there if you want, but I didn't get anything, so I don't have anything to say about that. It like the Bayou, you can add on, like they have beignets and a couple other things. So there is extra priced food around at some of the bars that you can always get, but that's the main dining options.
Overall, I really do feel that they raise the bar considerably on the Wish where food is concerned. I think that was a focus going into designing the ship, and I think it's a focus that paid off. I think they really did do a great job. Oh, also, I wanted to mention, I have heard that they are looking at how they can take the quick service experience from the Wish and retrofit it on to the other ships. So you may be seeing, because they realize we did a good thing here. And so I think at some point in the future, you may see those experiences on the other ships, which would be awesome. Mm-hmm. Would be absolutely awesome. So, all right, that, folks, is going to do it for this week's episode of the DCL Show. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again next week. Have a good one.